Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching this. Like and subscribe. War wasn't new to the galaxy, but the way it burned now, across star systems, consuming civilizations that thought themselves eternal, felt like the universe itself was ending. They called the invaders the Vorcryn, living void, metal-skinned nightmares that fed on stars and flesh alike. Every world they touched became a tomb, one where the dead did not stay still. For centuries, the known species of the galactic community, the graceful Volari, the towering Threx, the brilliant astral cartographers, fought and retreated, fought again, and retreated further. Their fleets shattered, their hopes dimmed. In whispered corners of refugee stations, a different name resurfaced. Humans. Legend said they once walked the galaxy in numbers beyond imagining. A reckless, impossible species who changed the fate of every world they touched. A species so dangerous, so unpredictable, the galaxy erased all traces and hid them. Some believed humans were extinct. Others believed they never existed at all. But deep in the ruined sectors, a secret hope spread. If the humans return, the war will change. The first Site Commander Tissaikari Veal, Volari Fleet Intelligence, stood aboard the flagship Radiant Pledge as the last defensive line crumbled on scanners. "We cannot hold another cycle," shouted Captain Reyes through the comms. The Vorcryn dreadnought is charging its main, the signal cut to static. The enemy Titan ship blotted out the stars, a jagged moon of death growing larger by the second. "If they fire," an officer whispered, voice trembling. Tissaikari closed her 4 silver eyes. Fear tasted metallic against her tongue. "We are witnessing our extinction." Then, space distorted. A tear of white light opened directly above the Vorcryn vessel, and something emerged, a ship like no one had seen. Sleek, obsidian metal, glowing blue lines pulsing like veins. With no announcement, no broadcast, it dove into the fray. It moved like it was alive, like it wanted a fight. "Identify," Tissaikari demanded. Her crew scrambled. No registry, no origin markers. Design unknown. The ship fired. One blinding beam, clean, precise. The Vorcryn dreadnought split in half, collapsing into molten debris. The bridge went silent. Who are they?" Someone breathed. The unknown ship finally hailed them. A face appeared, a male, short dark hair, shoulders squared with purpose. 2 eyes, 1 mouth, flesh soft and imperfect compared to galactic norms. Yet the moment Tissaikari saw him, she knew. The rumors were true. "I am Commander John Reyes, United Terran Fleet." His voice was calm, almost friendly. "We heard you could use a hand." Her heart hammered. "Human. Extinction me." ETS Defiance. They escorted the Terran ship to the Volari fleet carrier. Tissaikari led the greeting party, struggling not to stare too obviously. Reyes stepped out in armor marked with a symbol, a star rising behind a shield. "You really exist," she blurted before her dignity could catch up. Reyes smirked lightly. "We get that a lot." "How?" she demanded. "Humans vanished from the galactic archives 1,000 years ago. We pulled back," he said simply. "We were getting too loud. Too fast. The universe needed space. And we needed to learn restraint." She looked into his eyes. There was something ancient in them. Pain and fire and determination forged through more battles than she could imagine. "And now?" she asked. His expression hardened. "Now the universe needs us again." Before she could respond, the alarms screamed. The Vorcryn were returning. The battle line. The enemy fleet arrived. Dozens of capital ships, clouds of biomechanical fighters swarming like metallic locusts. "Status?" Reyes asked, calm as still water. "We are outnumbered 5 to 1, Tissaikari replied. "Retreat is our only, not today." Reyes tapped his comms. "Bring him out." Space rippled. One by one, hundreds of Terran ships appeared. Angular destroyers, hammer-headed cruisers, gigantic carriers flanked by swarms of smaller strike craft. Tissaikari gasped. "Your military, you hid all of this?" Reyes gave a humorless smile. "We're actually just the ones nearby." The Volari bridge crew watched as humans, rumors, legends, opened fire. It wasn't just weapons. It was rage, years hoarded. Missiles arced through space with sentient targeting brains that laughed at countermeasures. Railguns fired tungsten rounds with the force of continents colliding. Laser lances cut through Vorcryn armor like thread. Human fighter pilots screamed battle cries with every attack, voices raw, fearless, furious. The Vorcryn faltered. For the first time in centuries, the enemy retreated. The fleet erupted into cheers. Tisicaria found herself trembling with relief. Reyes only exhaled slowly. One victory doesn't win a war. What makes humans dangerous? The combined fleet gathered in strategy hall. Volari scientists analyzed Terran tech with awe. You adapt your ship systems mid-battle? Tisicaria asked. Of course, Reyes said. If the enemy changes tactics, we change faster. But your technology is new, unpredictable, unsafe. Reyes shrugged. So are we. The Volari exchanged looks, concerned, fascinated. General Korag of the Threx lumbered forward, towering like a moving fortress. You humans fight like you do not fear death, he rumbled. Reyes met his gaze without flinching. Fear isn't a reason to stop. It's a reason to start. A hush spread across the room. Tisicaria realized the truth. Other species fought to survive. Humans fought to win. The turning point. Weeks passed. The Terrans trained allied fleets in strategies none had ever imagined. Chaos warfare, rapid strike pivoting, psychological disruption. Reyes personally trained Tisicaria. You hesitate, he said during sparring. We analyze, she corrected. He lunged, forcing her to block. Analysis gets you killed when the blade is already at your throat. One quick motion, he had her disarmed and pinned. Tisicaria breathed hard, frustrated. Your methods are reckless. Reyes stepped back, offering a hand. Our methods changed every time someone said that. He smiled again, small, but real, and for a terrifying moment she admired the strange, stubborn species he represented. But the war escalated. Vorcryn forces converged on Solaris Gate, the final access to the last safe systems. If they broke through, billions would die. The Alliance formed one massive defense. Terran and alien ships together. Human infantry stood alongside Volari psionics and Threx war hulks. Reyes addressed the combined army. I know many of you didn't believe humans existed. Some of you still think we're myths. He looked over the assembly, voice rising. Well, myths are hard to kill. A roar answered him. Different species united by a singular hope. Humanity revealed. The battle for Solaris Gate exploded with fire and screams. Vorcryn colossi clashed with allied titans. The sky burned every shade of fury. Reyes was everywhere, issuing commands, fighting on the front line, risking himself without hesitation. A Vorcryn warform nearly cleaved through Tisicaria, until Reyes threw himself into the strike, armor taking the brunt. He fired point blank and the creature shattered. You saved me, she whispered, stunned. He grinned despite the smoke and blood. What kind of rumor would we be if we let friends die? Victory earned, not given. The Vorcryn flagship powered its star-devouring cannon. If fired, the system would implode. Reyes took command of a final strike team, humans, Volari, Threx side by side. They boarded the flagship under a storm of fire. Inside, the corridors wreathed, metal and flesh fused. Every step felt like walking through the throat of a dead god. Reyes charged ahead, planting charges while the others fought off wave after wave of abominations. The cannon's heart chamber loomed, giant cables pumping stellar energy like blood. Reyes set the final detonator. Fall back, he ordered. The Vorcryn commander blocked the exit, a towering, many-bladed horror. It struck Tisicaria, pinning her down. Reyes attacked like a wildfire, less a man, more a scream of defiance. He dragged the creature off her, but its blade pierced him. Blood floated in zero-gravity droplets. Tisicaria cried out, firing her weapon until the monster dissolved into ash. Reyes slumped against the reactor, breath shallow. You must go, he rasped. If this thing fires, everyone dies. She grabbed him. Not without you. With a weak smile, he whispered, humans don't get remembered by surviving. We get remembered by winning. He shoved her into the retreat corridor and sealed it. Tisicaria screamed his name, too late. The charges detonated. Light brighter than creation swallowed the flagship. The cannon imploded. The Vorcryn fled in terror. The system was saved. A rumor becomes a rallying cry. Days later, at the Victory Memorial, Tisicaria stood before millions. She placed Reyes's helmet upon the honor pedestal. This warrior came from a world we believed lost, she spoke, voice steady despite the ache in her chest. He fought not for conquest. Not for power. She looked toward the stars humans once called home. He fought because no enemy, no matter how ancient or monstrous, can outlast the will of humanity. Her speech broadcast across every remaining free world. A message echoed across the galaxy, humans have returned. Not myths. Not ghosts. Saviors. Even as they mourned one fallen hero, a new signal broke through, dozens more Terran fleets arriving. A voice crackled across the airwaves. This is Admiral Sarai Chen of the United Terran Armada. Commander Reyes sent a distress call. We're here to finish what he started. Tissaikari felt tears rise, this time, not of sorrow, of hope. The galaxy had feared humans for millennia. Now, it would fight alongside them. The war was far from over, but victory finally felt possible. Because humanity did not return to survive the battle, we returned to end the war. Commander John Reyes was dead. At least, that's what every report across the liberated systems claimed. The explosion had consumed the Vorcryn flagship and ensured their defeat at Solaris Gate. The galaxy mourned him as a symbol of humanity's return. But legends don't die easily. Somewhere far beyond the front lines, he woke up. The man who wouldn't stay dead. Pain was the first proof he wasn't dead. Light stabbed through his eyelids. A blurred silhouette stood over him, metallic fingers moving with surgical precision. His voice cracked. Where am I? You are aboard Helios Reborn, said a calm, synthetic voice. Terran medical cruiser. You suffered fatal trauma. We rebuilt you. Reyes forced himself up, chest screaming. Metal plating had replaced damaged ribs. New neurofilaments pulsed under his skin. You upgraded me, he muttered. We brought you back, the medic corrected. Your war isn't finished. Holoscreens flickered on, showing battle reports. Vorcryn forces regrouping. Allied front book. Cling. Admiral Sarai Chen assuming command. Reyes stared in shock. How long? 26 days. 26 days of war he'd missed. He clenched his fist. Get me a uniform. Meanwhile, the Alliance struggles on the War Council world of Myrath Prime. Tissaikari Veal stood before the gathered commanders. She wore a shard of Reyes's armor over her heart, a memorial token. Without the Terran commander, battlefield morale declines, General Korag growled, fists denting the strategy table. Admiral Chen's eyes were cold steel. Humanity will not fold because one soldier fell. But Tissaikari shook her head, voice trembling with truth. He wasn't just a soldier. He was proof we could win. Before the debate could escalate, alarms blared. Emergency fleet-wide broadcast. A familiar voice filled the chamber. This is Commander John Reyes. I'm back. Let's finish the job. Tissaikari froze, mind racing with disbelief and hope. Reyes stepped into the strategy hall moments later. The galaxy's fiercest warriors, Valari, Frex, Terrans, all went silent and stared. You died, Korag rumbled. Reyes smirked, only took a break. Tissaikari moved first, controlled, composed, and punched him in the shoulder. That is for dying, she said, breathing sharp. Then she hugged him, fiercely. And that is for coming back. Reyes smiled, quiet and sincere. Good to see you too. A new mission. Admiral Chen activated a star map. A red, pulsing region dominated the center. The Vorcryn amassing around the eclipsed rift, their birthplace. Their hive mind anchor. We destroy it, the war ends. Tissaikari swallowed. An assault there would be suicide. Reyes looked at the glowing rift. We're humans. We never liked the odds anyway. Chen nodded. Exactly. A bold strike, with every allied fleet. The plan was simple and impossible. Right arrow. A unified armada penetrates the rift. Right arrow strike teams land and detonate the Oblivion core, severing the Vorcryn hive mind. Who leads the assault? Tissaikari asked. Chen smirked. Who do you think? Reyes breathed once. Gear up. Into the rift. The fleet, thousands of ships, warped into the eclipsed rift. Space here was wrong. Colors twisted. Stars pulsed like infected wounds. Massive tendrils of dark matter wreathed between fractured moons. We're in hell, a pilot whispered over comms. Good, Reyes said. Means we're getting close. The Vorcryn emerged in endless waves, black hulls screaming like tortured beasts. All ships, Admiral Chen commanded. Fire at will. The cosmos turned into a furnace. Reyes led the ground strike force. Humans in adaptive armor, Valari psionics, Frex juggernauts wielding energy axes. Tissaikari stayed at his side. Dropships descended through storms of plasma. A Vorcryn Tita, a spiked monstrosity the size of cities, rose from the void, jaws splitting galaxies into teeth. That is not possible, Tissaikari whispered. Neither are humans, Reyes countered. The ground war. They landed on the Oblivion Spire, a cathedral of metal, flesh, and screaming energy. The ground pulsed like a heartbeat. Vorcryn horrors poured out, twisted soldiers fused with machine limbs, black core dripping. Reyes fired, each shot tearing through nightmares. Push forward, he ordered. No stopping. A Threx warrior fell, shredded by spinning blades. Valari psi blasts rippled, tearing apart swarms. Tsykhari fought like she'd swallowed lightning, every strike fueled by fury and memory. You fight like a human, Reyes shouted between gunfire. She flashed a wild grin. A compliment, the highest. They carved deeper into the spire. The hive mind they reached the core chamber, a vast sphere suspended in a vortex of dark energy. Within it, a colossal consciousness churned, eyes without number blinking open. The Vorcryn overmind. Its voice was not sound but infection in their skulls, flesh that refuses silence. You return only to rot. Commander, Tsykhari warned, clutching her skull. It's trying to control us. Reyes stepped forward, ignoring the psychic agony. Humanity doesn't kneel, he growled. Not to gods, not to nightmares. He planted the final charges. The overmind screeched, thrashing, an entire species screaming through a single throat. Thousands of Vorcryn surged in. Reyes grabbed Tsykhari's arm. Protect the charge. They fought back to back, blades, bullets, psionics, two species united in pure survival. Reyes took a brutal strike to the chest, new plating cracking, but he refused to fall. Tsykhari's voice shook. We'll never make it out. I know, Reyes said. He pressed the detonator into her hand. You go. No, she whispered, horror in her eyes. Not again. He leaned close, forehead touching hers. It's okay to survive. Someone has to tell the story. The choice the overmind roared, reality shattering around them. Tsykhari grabbed Reyes's hand, refusing to let go. You once said humans don't get remembered by surviving, she choked out. Reyes smiled, that reckless, immortal smile. I was wrong. He pressed her backward, toward the evac corridor. All of us get remembered, because someone survives to remember. He shoved her clear as the doors sealed. John, she screamed, pounding the barrier. He turned once, eyes blazing with pride. For humanity. The core exploded. Light devoured the rift. The Vorcryn shrieked, then silence spread, vast and final. The war ended. A new legend begins weeks later, on the liberated capital of Lyri Station, the largest victory sea. Celebration in galactic history filled the skies with streaks of silver fireworks. Tsykhari stood at the center monument, the same shard of Reyes's armor now embedded beside a brand new statue. Commander John Reyes, the man who turned rumor into hope. Admiral Chen addressed the galaxy. The Vorcryn are defeated. Humanity has returned to the stars, not as conquerors, but as allies. Cheers thundered. Different species held each other. Children laughed freely again. Tsykhari touched the statue's hand, the same hand that had pushed her toward life. She whispered, you saved us all. A voice spoke behind her, rough, familiar. Stop talking to statues. It's weird. Her heart nearly stopped. She turned. John Reyes, bruised, patched up, stubbornly breathing, stood there with a crooked smile. Her eyes flooded. You died, again. He shrugged. Didn't stick. She punched his chest, gently this time, then embraced him fiercely. You humans, she muttered, are impossible. Reyes's grin widened. That's what makes us dangerous. The future human ships filled the stars. Alien allies learned to fight like humans, not to survive, but to win. With peace finally possible, the galaxy looked toward a brighter horizon. Reyes looked up at the constellations and smirked. Let's explore again. Tsykhari nodded beside him. Together, human and Valari, they stepped forward into a future neither species could face alone. Because the galaxy now knew a truth carved in fire, humans were never myths. We were the turning point. We came back to end the war, and to build what comes after. The end. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to Starlight Sci-Fi Stories Milky Way.